Today is the day that we have issued a new book, the second in the series of Control. Last year at this time, we published the book called Control. And Control was all about our Second Amendment rights. This one, the second in the series of Control, is called Conform. And as we have been talking today and for the last 8 years, we must not conform. This is the ultimate conforming of our society. It is CommonCore and public education. And you are seeing it in spades. Just today, we have CommonCore in Southern California School District had an 18-page assignment for 8th graders on how the Holocaust wasn't real. The gas chambers, there's no evidence that the gas chambers ever killed a single Jew. That's a CommonCore education in California. They said it was a mistake, but I don't know how you make an 18-page assignment mistake. I don't understand how you made that mistake. How did that even get into the curriculum? Right now, your kids are probably hating math. Even if they used to love math, they hate math now because it doesn't make sense. Louis C.K. came out and started talking about his children's math and saying, I can't even help them with it anymore. I don't even understand this. Who came up with this idea? I'm not sure that he understood when he first started tweeting last weekend that it was all about CommonCore. Most of our friends are just waking up. But in Southern California, with that case, with the Holocaust being denied, came out just yesterday. The Blaze broke the story last night, and I'm looking at that, and I'm thinking to myself, where are the people? No one in the district complained until it hit the newspaper, the local newspaper. No one in the district complained until it hit the newspaper. Now, how is that possible? Does that mean everybody in Southern California is anti-Semite? No, most likely. Most people just trust the school system. The information gathering alone on our children is horrifying. The standards are going... what we're doing is we are putting our kids into a system that will chew them up, get them to hate education, hate learning, hate reading. Do you know that by high school, what the high schools are going to start really using as their reading supplies are government manuals? What person in their right mind reads a manual as something like, you know what, I'm reading this great manual. Have you read this yet? It just came out. Nobody reads manuals for anything but instructions on exactly how to conform. You build it this way. You didn't build that. We gave you the manual. Meanwhile, speaking of manuals, the manual that we used to use in this country, the one that did help us actually build this country, is being banned. I just gave you a story a minute ago about how there is a school that banned the Bible in a kid's private time reading. Get rid of that manual. Read this government manual. Most parents aren't aware of it, and those who are fighting some of the most powerful people on earth. The unions, the teachers aren't for this. The teachers hate this, but the teachers are afraid. Not all of them. Some of them are standing. Some of them actually like it. But the good teachers, they hate this. And Americans all over the country are hearing from teachers saying, listen, I never said this, but you got to stand up. Please stand up. This is really bad. No, I beg you, teachers, you have to stand up. You have to stand up. We will stand with you, but you have to stand up. If you lose your job, so be it. It's better than losing your soul. Kyle Olson, who is the founder of the Education Action Group, he has been leading the charge on CommonCore along with Michelle Malkin. And Kyle and I talked about, I don't even know, we first started talking about CommonCore about a year ago. And there is no one place where you can go and get all of the information. And what they do is, if you don't have it nailed, if you don't know how to argue it, if you don't know the right source to quote, you're in trouble. And they'll call you a conspiracy freak and everything else. And so we published Conform today. It is a 222 pages of text, and then the next 50 or so pages are all fine print sources. So it's all the footnotes. So you know exactly where to go, so you don't have to quote me or Kyle. It's called Conform, and Kyle is in with us now. How are you doing, Kyle?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
I am really proud of this book, and I'm really proud of everything that you have done for the last year, trying to get all of the research done and really button this thing up.
Well, thank you. It's so critical that parents know what's going on. Parents are standing up, as you said, and fighting back. And so more parents need to do that, because, what we hear about these stories like in Los Angeles is that the district is basically admitting it's incompetent. They don't know what's in the school, and when they're called out on it, they say, oh, that was a mistake, or that was never meant to be, given to children, that sort of thing. And so it's so critical that parents know what's going on in their child's classroom, what textbooks they're reading, what informational texts that they're reading, those sorts of things, and so they can stand up and fight back.
So we're doing the final edit. I'm going through the teachers' unions put kids first nonsense. That's one of the chapters. Teachers' unions put kids first. And I thought to myself, oh my gosh, the unions are going to go crazy on this book, because it exposes them for who they really are, and not somebody who's looking out for the teachers, not somebody looking out for the kids by any stretch of the imagination. It's a total coincidence that we're releasing Conform today on National Teachers Day. We're trying to empower the teacher and take the power away from the people like the teachers union. Let's just stop on that chapter here for just a bit. Teachers unions put kids first.
Sure. So one of the best ways to prove that teachers unions don't put kids first is to actually use their own words. And you've got people like Bob Shannon, who talked about how the reason that the union was formed and the reason that they are influential is because they have power.
We have that.
Yeah, play that. You want to play that?
Yeah,
here.
It is not because of the merit of our positions. It is not because we care about children, and it is not because we have a vision of a great public school for every child. NEA and its affiliates are effective advocates because we have power.
Give me the quote. I mean, this is amazing. The Boston Globe. Do you remember this? The union representing Framingham teachers has urged its members to volunteer personal information they know about committee members, including what health clubs they belong to and where their spouses work. Many of us have felt some degree of stress coming into work during the contract struggles, and it's not right that the committees put this on us, said the union president. For all the stress we have felt, we owe it to the committee to return the favor. The focus will now be on making the committee feel the stresses that we have.
So the National Education Association, one of its recommended books is Rules for Radicals by Saul Alinsky. And as you know, what they teach is to polarize, isolate, and attack. And so that is exactly what unions do around the country. And so what they'll do is, like in Framingham, when they're not getting their way in the collective bargaining process, they will go after school board members. Sometimes if there's a weak link in the unity of the school board, they will go after that person. And they will picket outside their business. They'll picket outside their home. They will distribute flyers in their community. They will do all of those sorts of things to intimidate in order to get their way in collective bargaining.
You also have here the California Teachers Association. As we celebrate the 150th anniversary of the Teachers Association, we must remember that we were founded for one reason and one reason only, and that is to engage in politics. We were founded to engage in the political process in order to create an organized system of public instruction and to elevate the profession of teaching in California. The fact our establishment in 1863 coincides with the passage of the Emancipation Proclamation may be a beautiful coincidence, but from the very beginning we were funded in the throes of political activism and social justice. Another one, former NEA president. The major purpose of our organization is not the education of children, or ought to be the extension and or preservation of our members' rights. It ought to be the extension and preservation of our members' rights. We do care about children's learning, but it is secondary to our other goals. So, and we really line out about how the money is spent and misspent, how it goes to shelter those bad teachers that everybody doesn't like. I mean, good teachers don't like
their own
working.
colleagues.
Yeah,
No.
they don't like working with the bad teachers.
That's right. So what unions have done is they have very methodically gained more power, more control. They've elected school board members, politicians who see things their way in order to control the system. And so, but the problem is we as a society have looked to unions, teachers' unions, for how schools should operate, what sort of curriculum should be in the classroom, all of those sorts of things. And that's what's gotten us to this position.
So let's go through a couple of these really quick. So these are just chapter headlines, but the arguments are so pithy and so good. Let's start at the beginning. You can't criticize public education if you haven't been in the classroom. I love that.
So what they will try and do is they will belittle anyone who does not have an education degree.
Right.
Because, of course, the implication is that, well, if you're not an expert, then how can you possibly know anything?
Right.
But parents know what is in the best interest of their child. They know their kids. I have two boys. They are completely different from each other, and I know what sort of education should be for those two boys. The school doesn't know that. The government doesn't know that. Bureaucrats don't know that. And yet that is constantly what they are trying to push.
Also, but the argument that I really love back is, well, have you ever fought in the war? Because you should not, Cindy Sheehan, you should not have a point of view on the war ever.
That's right.
I'm sorry. Have you worked for the GAO? Have you been in the government accounting office? Because you shouldn't have a view on the national debt. Have you ever been president of the United States? Because you shouldn't be vote for the president of the United States. It's ridiculous.
Climate change? Are you a meteorologist?
Yeah.
Huh.
Exactly.
But notice they do it on those things. They don't do it on the debt.
Very selective.
Right. And it's only the progressives that will come up and say, well, the people don't understand. The people don't understand about war and No, we know enough to know what's right and wrong.
That's right. There is almost open contempt for parents when it comes to their rights and overseeing their kids' education.
And chapter 2 is critics of the system are just teacher bashers. They always will say, well, you're just bashing teachers. You don't like teachers.
That's right. There are so many teachers in America that are criticizing the system themselves. One good example is they're saying, pay me what I'm worth. Pay me based on my performance. Let me excel. Instead, there are schools across America that pay teachers simply based on how long they've been there and not based on their performance.
How do you do this, though? Because a lot of the complaints from the conservative side of this with CommonCore and stuff is they don't like standardized testing. So how do you come up with a system that rewards performance without going down that road all the time?
Chapter 11, states have failed, so now we need national standards. Lose control is just a ruse to protect mediocrity.
Well, I think, personally, I think standardized testing is important, some of it, because it gives you an objective measure on how kids are doing at reading and math and those sorts of things. But CommonCore has taken it way past that. So in terms of, I think a performance-based system needs to be fair. I don't think it's appropriate to tie a teacher's pay simply to a test score. There are all sorts of things that could go into that. But the problem is schools have not even tried to go there. They have not even tried to achieve that. And so many, like I said, so many teachers are saying, judge us based on our merit. We want that. We want to be recognized as professionals, as experts at educating children, and reward us for that.
These are just some of the, let me just run down some of the chapters in the new book that has come out today, number 2 in the Control series. The first one we did last year at this time was about gun control, and we said that it really was all about control. That's the key word in the argument. They want to control you, so that was the Second Amendment book we came out. This one is about education, exposing the truth about CommonCore and public education. When we were looking for the right one word that summed up what is happening to us, it really is all about conform. And that's the name of the book, Conform. Here are some of the other chapters. Teachers need unions and collective bargaining. Next one, teachers need tenure. Pay should be based on seniority, not performance. Only people who go to college and have an education should be teachers. School curriculum is based on a conservative whites-first worldview. The government education system can't be reformed until we eradicate poverty. That's an amazing chapter. States have failed, so we need national standards. CommonCore is state-led. CommonCore is rigorous. These are all chapters. Teachers love CommonCore, and they're the ones that really matter. This anti-CommonCore talk is just another conspiracy theory from those who hate the president. We need better data collection to help us better educate our kids. Given the rising obesity epidemic, the federal government must set strict standards for in-school meals and provide free breakfast and lunch daily. Schools should teach students about sexuality because parents don't. Schools should be the center of community, open 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. Homeschooling is hurting our public schools and bad for the collective. Homeschoolers are academically inferior to public school students. Even if homeschool kids do okay academically, they suffer socially by not being at school. What are these parents teaching their kids at home anyway? We need more state monitoring to make sure it's not all crazy Christian Bible stuff. Many parents aren't equipped to make the right choices for their children. Mm-hmm. School choices take money away from government schools. Education shouldn't be for profit. And charter schools don't perform any better than traditional government schools. And then part 2 of the book, The Way Forward. This is the book I urge you to get. I urge you to buy several copies for your friends and give them out if you are concerned at all about education. We have tried to put together the quintessential book that will cover all of the things you worry about, all of the charges that are leveled against you, and tried to put them with a ton of footnotes so you don't ever have to quote me. You know the original source. You know where this answer is coming from. It's called Conform. Exposing the truth about CommonCore and public education. It is on the bookshelves right now. Came out today. You can buy it also at Amazon.com or wherever books are sold.